You know what time it is.
The top 10 worst movies of 2012. At number 10, Tyler Perry's Medea's Witness Protection. I think a better title for this movie may have been Tyler Perry Gives Up, or Tyler Perry Pays Off His Home Insurance, or Tyler Perry, I don't give a damn about my audience and I'm going to make whatever the hell racist both ways movie I want. Now you may say, come on, Michael, Tyler Perry's an easy target. That's like beating up a dead puppy. Well, I'll say to you, this is by far, bar none, the worst movie Perry has ever made. And I have to admit that I've enjoyed some of his movies in a trashy soap opera sort of way, and I've liked some of the Medea stuff. This movie stretches that character out. It proves why he's put Medea in small portions in his other movies, because she doesn't work as a full-fledged character. Not only does it stretch out every joke it has, but on top of it, it has the abhorrent Eugene Levy in a supporting role where he's always terrible. And here with a bad director like Perry at the helm, he really has no idea what to do. And there's a scene where he's doing a French accent. Hey, remember that? An American doing a really bad French accent like the Pink Panther 2? Oof, this movie definitely gave me vibes of that. Very few intermittent laughs here, and a mildly racist film as well. Just a piss-poor attempt at a comedy. At number 9, Taken 2. Am I disappointed by this one? Now, Liam Neeson, not a bad year for him. He's in my number 1 movie of the year, so good for you, buddy. But at the same time, he was in this piss-poor attempt at a sequel to what is, in my opinion, one of the best action movies of the past few years. Taken 2 is a sad attempt to basically remake the same movie over again. They pulled a Hangover 2 on this one and just made the same movie in a different location. But unlike in that film, which I actually enjoy, because the characters are so fun and it does some cool things with the characters, in this movie, nothing cool is done. Cool is not a part of the equation in this action movie. It's tired. All the actors just seem tired. As soon as they wake up, you see Liam Neeson, who has obviously stumbled off the set of several other movies, phoning it in the role. You have these awful action sequences directed by the inept director Olivier Megaton of previously Columbiana and Transporter 3, making shaky, hectic, ADD camera work that dilutes all the action. You have a lame villain, ridiculous plot twists and turns like the infamous grenade throwing scene. This movie fails on all accounts to be a sequel to a great film. When a Liam Neeson movie doesn't even have one moment where you go, oh, that's badass, it's failed. At number 8, everyone's favorite, the few, the proud, the Marines commercial, Act of Valor. And before one of you military crazy Alabama people goes, that ain't the right division of the military, I don't care. Look, I have the utmost respect for the soldiers who serve our country on a daily basis, but this movie does a great disservice to not only them, but particularly the ones who volunteered to star in this film. It is a trivialized attempt to make the Army look like this grand, big action movie, and it fails on all levels. I can't blame the actors here. They're just military guys. They're doing their best to be in this movie and do a good job. So I'm not going to get on that for that. I'm going to get on it for the inept screenplay that really wasn't written with anything but action set pieces in mind. The over-direction of said action sequences to not actually replicate realistic military warfare, except in some parts where it mildly succeeds at that. But even when it does, the action feels incredibly boring, especially when it turns flat out into Call of Duty at the end with first-person shooting. It's just a lame, boring movie all around that doesn't do our military any favors. And number 7, This Means War. This one is painful because I love all the leads in this movie. Chris Pine, Reese Witherspoon, and Tom Hardy are all fantastic, but unfortunately, director McG failed them here. In a movie that tries to mix spy comedy with action comedy, with romantic comedy, and stupid physical comedy, and it all just kind of rolls into this really bad package that doesn't achieve anything. The actors look confused and lost as they attempt to deliver these odd comedic timing scenes that don't really mesh together, these action sequences that are poorly directed, and particularly in the leads, Tom Hardy just looks like he has no idea what he's doing. The poor guy is not a comedy actor, and this movie just proves that. It's just really a strange and bad film all around, and it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth. One of the worst attempts at a romantic comedy and a guys butting heads movie that I've seen in a long time. It does occasionally get a couple laughs, but this is one of those movies early on in the year that I honestly considered walking out of, and any movie where I get that feeling automatically goes on this list. Number 6, John Carter, or as I like to call it, Nicolas Cage's wallet. Get it? Because they lost a lot of money? Yeah? No? Okay. God, this thing was a disaster all around. It's just like watching a car wreck or someone get stabbed to death by a squirrel. It's just, you don't want to see it. It's just, oof, painful. This movie is just a disaster all around. It's just miserable to watch because you can tell that for every step of the way, these filmmakers wanted to make a good movie so desperately. They tried so hard and just fell flat, smack, lickety split on their face. Andrew Stanton directs one of the most bland, boring sci-fi films I've ever seen. And you may say, oh, well, John Carter inspired all these sci-fi movies. Well, now this story feels tired. I'm sorry, it's just too late. Not only does the story feel cliched and tired now, but Taylor Kitsch, ouch, he is awful in this lead role. Everyone knows the line, Virginia. But beyond that, he spends the whole movie talking like this. And he just has no star power, no screen presence, anything like that. And he really brings this movie down as well. And just not so great special effects. Feels like a sci-fi channel movie through a lot of it. Just not good. And it's really a shame that this talented filmmaker lost over $200 million directing this epic, masterful disaster. Okay, every year, there's always one movie I put on my worst list that I just get a shitstorm of hate from, and everyone starts disliking the video, and oh, it's so much fun. Ladies and gentlemen, this is it. At number 5, The Raid Redemption. Yep, I can just hear the angry mob coming to my house right now. Oh, look, there's a noose for me. Lovely. Okay, so The Raid Redemption. I understand why people like this movie. I really do. It's a fun action movie, or at least in the point of view of some people. And it's got these really great kung fu scenes that are so brutal and long. Oh, Jesus Christ, are they long. Especially the one at the end with the big jumping around guy. Oh, God, long martial arts scenes. And I love martial arts movies, don't get me wrong. I didn't like this movie because despite all these great martial arts sequences, which are great and really well directed, really well filmed, you can see everything that's going on really made well. Unfortunately, it's just boring somehow. What I feel like it is just these characters are bland. And you may say, well, you can watch a dumb action movie in America and not have this problem. But no, dumb action movies succeed not because of the action, but because of the personalities of the characters doing the action. It makes you want to root for them. There's nobody to root for in this movie. There's a cop who makes this face, and there's a cop who makes this face. And that's pretty much it. That's all you really get to find out about them. They're just lame-brained characters throughout the entire thing. And don't think it's just because it's a foreign film and I couldn't connect to it. I love some foreign films. This movie just on no level ever connected with me on any level besides, oh, there's violence going on. And to be honest with you, that only very intermittently works with me. And in this case, it just didn't work. At number 4, Ghost Rider, Spirit of Vengeance. This movie is the very dictionary definition of a letdown. I was so excited for this movie. I was going on and on, all my friends going, dude, the Crank guys are making a Ghost Rider movie. Oh my freaking God. It's gonna be unbelievable. And it sucked. This movie's awful. There's no getting around it. These two Crank guys, Crank's good. Crank's great. Crank is fun as hell. But when you take them out of Crank for Gamer and this, they suck. They have no idea how to just hold the damn camera to where it's not moving around every 2 seconds like a mouse running through holes. It's horrible. They have no respect for this character, no respect for who he is. They just let Nicolas Cage ham it up to the nth degree, which is fun sometimes, like in this interrogation scene where he's just going crazy, and that's just kind of fun. But other times they just let him phone it in. They just seem to have no idea no vision for this film other than let's move the camera around a lot. And that's really disappointing because I thought this was going to be one of the most fun, balls to the wall, superhero action movies that have come around in a long time, and unfortunately, I was just incredibly disappointed. And number 3, Magic Mike. Yes, despite the incredibly good things this movie has done for my personal namesake, this thing was a miss. I'm sorry. Steven Soderbergh, I like him, and all of a sudden, I really like Channing Tatum too. In fact, the dancing scenes in this movie were the one saving grace. He is incredibly talented as a dancer, and those scenes were fun to watch, no homo. But this movie is utterly plotless. This movie's about nothing. It really is. There's stripping, people walk around. There's stripping, Channing Tatum flirts with a girl. There's stripping, etc., etc., etc. You get the idea. It feels like an aimless film with really no real point to it whatsoever. And that's a shame because you see ingredients of a good film here. But you just spend 90% of it just bored because nothing in this movie makes good on any of its promise. There's some good performances by Channing Tatum and Matthew McConaughey, but Alex Pettyfer, God, go away and never come back with his irritating douche baggery whenever he shows up in anything. And it's just a lame, plotless movie that I personally didn't enjoy. And number 2, Tim Burton's Dark Shadows. This movie has made me lose hope in several individuals. First of all, Tim Burton. I'm sorry, he's an awful hack of a director. Granted, I didn't see Frankenweenie, but every movie I've seen that he's made in the past few years has been awful, terrible. And this is quite possibly the worst. Maybe it's tied with Alice in Wonderland, I don't really know. And also Johnny Depp, surprisingly enough. I like Depp, but God has he been bad lately, just phoning it in with the I'm a weird eccentric person, and then in Lone Ranger he just looks like I'm a weird eccentric Indian. Like, it's just like, stop wearing costumes, Johnny Depp. Just be yourself. Get out of costumes. This movie is lame on every level. Not funny in the slightest. Tired gags that are practically falling asleep as you're watching them. Just really over-the-top performances, a plot that goes nowhere, threads that come out of nowhere at the end. It's just awful. And even good actors like Chloe Moretz and Ava Green are just wasted in this miserable piece of dreck. And Tim Burton just needs to never direct a movie again. Or, at the very least, make something original that isn't a remake of something he dug out his ass. All these films are utter masterpieces compared to the worst movie of the year, Killing Them Softly. This movie genuinely angers me. All the other movies on this list, they're bad. In some of the cases, really bad, but they're not like piss-offable. Killing Them Softly is just an awful abomination to cinema. It really is. And the movie-going public agrees. It got an F cinema score. So basically anybody who doesn't have a giant stick up their ass when they sit down basically agrees that this is an awful, terrible, self-indulgent film. What really pisses me off about this film is not the fact that it's a bad, aimless story that goes no freaking where, but the fact that it's so self-congratulatory with its pretentious, oh, it's just like politics message that it forces down your throat like goddamn broccoli. God, just brutal. Within the opening credits of this film, where director Andrew Dominik tries some weird, jumpy shit, it's just, you know it's going to be awful right from the beginning. Terrible performances by great actors. Brad Pitt, Richard Jenkins, James Gandolfini, all reduced to shitty performances. This movie's awful. There's no getting away from it. This is the worst movie of the year because it is the only movie this year that I walked out of genuinely pissed. And those are the worst movies of 2012. I hope you enjoyed it. It was very ranty, I know, but I tried to make it entertaining. And if you did, please subscribe to my channel. And until next time, I'm Michael Fairbanks.